Tomczak. That's Andrew Lee.
Good morning, everybody. Real quick, I want to remind people, go to iHeartWeeklySpecials.com, iHeartWeeklySpecials.com. It's a new website we put together. Every week we're going to feature some of the best and my favorite restaurants around the Twin Cities, and you're going to get half-price gift cards. Pay $25 and get $50 worth of gift cards to JJ's Clubhouse this week. JJ's Clubhouse is located right here in St. Louis Park, just a little bit very close to the station here. Great happy hour specials, tons of TVs. It's a sports bar, so you can watch all the latest sports ball type of games.
You like sports ball? Go to JJ's.
That's right. They've got a really nice patio.
Cool.
For when the weather's nice. Mm-hmm. And I love their menu. Their fish sandwich, one of my favorite in the area.
All right, and it's
love
$50 for $25?
Pay $25, you get $25 free. We're giving you $25.
Money.
Free money. iHeartWeeklySpecials.com is the website. Go check it out.
All right, love, you want to read anything? You good? All right. Joining us now in studio is Aaron Benner, a teacher in St. Paul.
Thank you. How are y'all doing today?
We're doing well.
Oh, there's the clap then.
There you go. Studio audience was a little slow in the uptake there.
Nice.
And Jamar Nelson still in studio. Good morning again, Jamar.
Morning.
And Don Allen is on with his day.
Don Allen had to leave us, so he can only call in for a short segment this time. So I mentioned at the end of the last segment, I wanted to give you, Jamar, a chance to respond to what Don was saying about the governor's comments. He says he agrees that with me anyway, that the governor was pandering a bit with his statements, and that it was not necessarily the best timing, and it wasn't necessarily the most appropriate thing that to say as a leader. Doesn't mean that what he said was wrong. Doesn't mean necessarily that you even disagree with the sentiment behind what he said. But, you know, at times like this, times of crisis, times of high tensions, somebody needs to be a voice of calm, and somebody needs to sort of say, all right, everybody, take a breath. Not all cops are racist. Not all cops are out there looking to assassinate you. And he didn't do that. He chose to jump sort of all in with both feet with the Black Lives Matter narrative.
I get that. And you're right. And for the record, our police officer friend is texting me, telling me that she does agree with Don, that Dave was wrong. Again, I think that he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. I don't know. Again, I think that some say he should have said something bit different, that it may have been pandering. But to Diamond, to his family, to members of the African Black and Brown community, they could have thought that was a real breakthrough moment for them. That a guy that never showed them that he cared about them. Mm-hmm. So what he's giving 46 million, that may not even reach them. Okay.
Oh, it won't.
Exactly.
No,
so
it won't.
They feel for once maybe this is a guy that spoke up for them, that feels their pain. Mm-hmm. Again, I feel bad for him. I really do, because I don't know at what he should have done at that moment. As a governor, I don't know what I would have done. If I'd have been the governor, as a black man, I think I too would have probably said those same sentiments or echoed those same sentiments. But then I probably would have been treated like Barack did when he said that Trayvon would have been his son or would have looked like his son. So it's hard. And I understand that the white governor seemed like he was pandering. Mm-hmm. I just don't agree with that. I think that he offered leadership.
You don't agree. I think that, and this is just my opinion, I think the role of leadership, and this is, black, white, whatever, the role of leadership in times of high tension, when you've got volatile situations, I would like to see leadership be that voice of calmness and try to soothe all the sides that are very tense right there, and not pick a side when there's time for that later. There will be time for that later on, but at that moment, in the heat of the moment, you don't need to jump all in on one side or another. Just say, take a moment and help people sort of take a deep breath and realize that not everything that the cops are doing is bad and wrong and awful. Not everything that Black Lives Matter is doing is bad and wrong and awful. There's right and truth to be found in both sides of this situation. So let's all just
I'll say this,
calm
Andrew,
down
and be done with this somewhat.
Go on.
We do need leadership also from in the community level. all officers are not here to assassinate us. Let's make that clear.
We have
the black community.
Leafy Pounds.
Well, again, we don't need people like her.
Turner.
Because she, the governor sits in a big office where you never see him. Nakima and other leaders are effective because are supposed to be effective because they're around you.
Agreed.
We don't need leaders like that fanning the fuels, saying that police officers are there to assassinate you, because when you need service, who do you call? You call these very officers that you are saying they're assassinate you. Leaders make it bad, can make it worse on the community by saying inflammatory things like this. So it does not help when Nakima and her friends say that the officers are trying to assassinate you, because they deserve to go home at night too. Yes. They are our protectors, but they have to be held accountable.
The national Black Lives Matter leader, DeRay McKesson, is in the news today saying the police, are continuing to go out there and kill black and brown
Benner.
people.
I think we had the NAACP, the national leader, was in this week.
Okay.
And he met with the local chapter. And you're talking about inflammatory words. He said that the police are comparable to the KKK in lynchings. And when I heard that, I was like, you cannot say that.
It's not helpful.
It's not helpful at all. I mean, the imagery, and
not
I'm thinking,
true.
you're the NAACP national leader. You're the president, and you're coming to St. Paul, and you're saying the police are comparable to the KKK in lynchings. Nope. You cannot say it, because right now we're in a crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we all have to band together. And I see these so-called leaders, a lot of them say they're pastors. I don't know if they're licensed or what. If you're a pastor and you're going to preach this, you better be preaching love, peace, mercy, and forgiveness.
So if
right now, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Right now, what we don't have in the black community is that forgiveness part. I mean, that's hard. We need that. We have to forgive white people for slavery. It's over, y'all. We have to forgive white people. We have to move on. The same accountability we want from police officers, we have to look in the mirror and say, we need that same accountability in our communities. Because right now, this crisis, people are trying to figure out ways about this stop was legal, blah, blah. People are trying to justify these shootings. Nope, as a black man, these shootings are wrong. Okay? Wrong. But also, if I want police officers to turn into so-called bad ones, I'm going to look at my community. I want y'all to turn into people who are terrorizing your communities worse than the Klan ever could have imagined. You know who a murderer is? You know who's selling crack? Who's selling stolen items? And you're going to say you're not going to tell because you're snitching? You're just as bad as that police officer who is not telling his supervisors who a bad cop is. This is a two-way street. And we're not going anywhere until both parties realize there's work that needs to be done. Love, peace, mercy, and forgiveness. If we can't work on that, then we got chaos coming.
Unscrew that microphone and drop it, and then you could maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. You have nothing to add to that. That was amazing.
What is a young black man going to do if he hears and believes that police are just as bad as the Klan? What does he do in his interaction when he gets pulled over, stopped in the street, or sees a cop, whatever? What is his impression of a police officer, and how does that work out for him?
I said that it is also incumbent upon police departments around the nation to make sure that they have good relations with the community.
Yeah.
Everybody is responsible.
Absolutely. We all have responsibilities. And when you say police officers should be retrained, when they hear that, they scoff at things like that. I don't know if they need to be trained or whatever the answer is for police departments. I just know that, look, when I see officer such and such, I don't want to think that he's a bad guy because he's white. Now, let me say this. I've had just as bad encounters with black officers that I have with white officers. So for me to sit here and say, oh, all white officers are bad, I would be a hypocrite. I want to offer leadership that says, look, we need to sit at the table and try to come up with solutions that eradicate the problem that exists between us. We were just talking about how the younger generation, he's 47, I'm 38. Man, so I'm talking about my niece.
Aaron, you look way younger than you are. You look way younger and more.
And people say I act way younger than I am too.
You're no longer my friend, Jack. We're talking about ages. My nieces and our nieces and nephews, ages 25 to 23. Yes. Sometimes those younger generations, they're not necessarily teaching their kids that police are inherently bad or racist. The music they listen to, their actions say those things. So it's hard for that young 5 or 8-year-old not to think that that white officer is not racist because of what he sees, what he's not being taught at home.
Right.
So it's incumbent upon parents to do the same thing.
Well, and it's tough. What message are you sending to your kids whether they're going to school the next day or whether they're interacting with a cop later on in life when you go walk on the freeway and with your mom and dad. Because I look back to things in my life and I just assume still now that my parents are right, so I'll just do what they said was right. And I'm coming up on 40. And if you are most kids look at their parents as the authority, and that's what they say goes. And if I can walk in the freeway with mom and dad, that's right. That's something I can and should do.
That's right.
Because I can ignore that.
There's a very very insidious and dangerous conditioning that's going on with the young generation right now that are being brought up in this culture, in this climate of police are out there to assassinate black people. And there are people out there that believe it, and there are kids growing up that are going to grow up as adults and have that little nugget ingrained in their subconscious. And that's dangerous.
Yeah, I think Rudy Giuliani, I think he made some allegedly controversial comments. A couple of days ago, he was telling black people they need to raise their children. They're going to have more fear with other black kids than the police. And people went off on Rudy Giuliani. And I was thinking, he's right. I'm not.
It was the way he delivered it, though.
Okay,
it was the way he did. I seen it. Okay, it was the way he was delivering it.
That's one aspect of this that I'm getting very frustrated.
I didn't mean to cut you off. So, as a black man, my parents taught me. I'm coming from a background of law enforcement. Father's retired police officer, St. Paul Police. 2 officers in St. Paul Police, 1 in Minneapolis. I'm the only one who didn't go that route. You are taught to respect that uniform and badge. Are they all good? Nope. Are they all bad? No. However, I'm going to respect that uniform. We have a generation now who doesn't give a rat's, about the uniform. So start right there. You have problems. So you have people my age, you know what they got to do? You got to stop talking about this in coffee shops. You got to get your butt out there and meet with these kids. Right. You got to coach. Right. You got to mentor, because all this blah, 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 get your black butt out there and help our kids. They need guidance. Now, because some of our kids are out of control.
Or as the Dallas police chief said yesterday, join the force.
Yes.
Yeah. You took the words out of my mouth. I'm sorry. I was just going to say that. Black folks, if you need to quit complaining and join the force. That is one thing I'll say.
That's an option.
We got to quit teaching our black kids that it's racist, that it's white. You're being white if you want to become an officer. If you want to change the culture, you have to be an officer, okay? Yes. You have to do it. There's no racist or there's no litmus test to be an officer, okay? And again,
they will literally let anybody do that.
They literally will let anybody do it. But let's not sit here and be Pollyanna. Here in Minneapolis, we probably let's keep it real. Minneapolis, Minnesota, we don't really experience the type of experiences that the southern states and other states go through when they say, like New York, Chicago, when they talk about the police department being inherently racist. Mm-hmm. And there is proof of that. So I know that there are people probably listening now saying, but that there are cops that are bad. And we're acknowledging that. But again, we kind of have to move past that.
No, we put all of our institutional racism into the education system. Now, real quick before we break, you're talking about the Rudy Giuliani's comments about who a black kid should fear, a cop or another black person. And originally, Jamar, we're going to have you on to talk about your days as a honest-to-God gang member. Yeah. And all of that. And then all the police shootings happened because they were last week. Kids. Well, there's the 24-year-old guy who was shot. Then there were
2-year-old.
Two kids, and there's always a story of somebody being shot in North Minneapolis and it's gang related. Jamar, have you lost more people to police shootings or to gang shootings, or stabbings, as it were?
Gang shootings.
Yeah. So I'm not saying we should we should ignore police shootings problems if there's a problem.
Not at all.
But if we're going to talk about Black Lives Mattering, let's look where the most black lives are being lost.
But it's called selective rage, and I've told people this. Yeah. If you have this rage, when you see unarmed black men being killed, you should have this same rage when we're killing each other. Selective rage is not going to solve this problem.
It's frustrating that it's considered controversial to bring up the fact that most black men die at the hands of other black men. That is considered to be a controversial thing to say. Maybe it's a controversial thing to say if you're a white person saying it. It's frustrating because it makes it harder to have a genuine and authentic conversation when you're not allowed to acknowledge certain things without fear of somebody calling you racist. And that shouldn't be a controversial a statistic or controversial piece of data.
People think when you mention that you're being dismissive of officers.
No,
you're not. But I'm just saying that's the thing. But the point is, it's a two-way street. And I'm telling you, this is my fear in the black community. Police are going to have these reforms. They're going to retrain these officers. Now what, black community? What have you done? Because I'm not going to ask the police to change unless my people aren't going to change.
With that, we're going to take a break.
To work on this.
We got a ton of people lined up. Marvin, Al, Chester, Don, stay on the lines. We'll get to your calls. If you've got thoughts, comments, or questions, 651-989-5855.